Hi Al, back, and we're gonna make a really, really, really simple soap. In fact, if I ever get around to actually having online sales, this is going to be part of a line that I would call so simple within Kiowa Soapery. The reason for that is that I'm trying to create basic plant-based lines or offerings that have no added fragrances and no added colorants. That's going to make this one of the simplest soaps out there. Come on, I'll show you what I mean. Now, as you can probably guess, this one is going to be made with orange. I purchased this orange. It's actually those little tiny easy peel oranges. Squeezed out as much of the juice as I could and froze them into pucks. That way it wouldn't go bad on me. And it also makes it so that, well, because it's so stinking cold outside, I can actually use the cold method, much like milk, and I can melt this and add my lye in an easy, controlled way indoors with a minimal amount of fumes. I'm also concerned about the amount of sugar in the orange juice and the lye having a field day, basically having its own Thanksgiving with this particular element of this particular liquid. So freezing it hopefully will slow that process down, much in the same way as milk. Other videos that I've watched in trying to learn how this works have also added things like dried orange peel. They actually zested the oranges and dried the orange peel when they did that. I would have done that had I watched those videos before I juiced these particular oranges. So no orange to zest. Others have added orange essential oil and a few other things. Honestly, I am still debating whether I'm going to add cloves to this. Orange and cloves is a wonderful combination. And I'm still trying to decide, even as my oils are melting, if that's the direction I'm going to go. I'll think about it. Obviously, I'll know here soon. In the meantime, let's get some lye added to this orange juice. I am going to very slowly just sprinkle some on. The nice thing about doing this on a glass top surface is that it makes for easy cleanup. Learned that from another YouTube video. You sprinkle a little bit and you wait. What you're looking for here is a slowed release of the normal exothermic chemical reaction that happens here. You want it nice and controlled. If it's a milk product, you do that so that it doesn't scald and basically create a bad scent or bad color, any of that with your milk. Orange juice, like I said, I'm trying to prevent a volcano from happening as the lye starts to work on the sugars and basically looks at it in the same way that, well, I look at sugars when I see a really good dessert bar. So we're going to watch this work. I just saw something here that I really want to show you up close. I want you to watch as the lye is poured on here and watch how fast it's melting it. Just a sprinkle. Watch. Do you see that? See how fast that is melting it? And I'm not even touching it. This is going to melt quickly, but you still need to take a measured amount of time so that you don't have that volcano that I was talking about. Tippy, when you start pouring, of course, it's going to get wider to your edges. If you take a minute to flop it back and come back, your edges get narrower and you have more control over your sprinkle. Don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you can see it. It's just, it melts it so fast. Look at that. I want to take a moment to thank everybody who has discovered my new channel and is interested in what I'm doing. I appreciate the subscriptions that you guys have already given to me. It means a world to me. It has not gone unnoticed. And I really, really hope that as we continue building this together, we'll continue to see that level of support increase, because this is, oh, guys, I'm having so much fun doing this. I really am. Okay, a little bit more here. By the way, no fumes. I am not smelling anything from the lye. Yeah, I know, I'm not wearing gloves. Told you I make a lot of mistakes, and well, that's probably one of them. Now, should you be wearing gloves? Duh. I just tend to make a lot of mistakes like this. I get in a rush. I've been sitting in a 1-ton dually going up and down I-25 all day. I am now back in my kitchen making soaps, and I was in such a rush to do so. That's why the gloves didn't go on. Sorry about that. And we'll let that do what that needs to do. Okay, so what you see here is what you're going to get. Orange juice is my liquid. Oils are coconut oil, palm oil, castor oil, cocoa butter, and rice bran oil. And they are doing very well. I also learned something new today. Normally I would use sodium lactate when I'm doing my soaps here. And that is to help it release and also to help it get a little bit harder. I learned today that you can actually use about an equal amount of just general table salt and have it do the same thing. It will still make the bars harder. It will still help it come out of the mold a little bit faster. I think that's really cool. Table salt is very easy to get, and with such a small amount that shouldn't really be an issue. I need for the rest of this to melt. This is already melted. I need to take it off of the pot, and I will have you guys come back when I'm ready to start doing some saponification. Ta-da! Yeah, something changed. Well, actually 3 things have changed. One, something else I've been learning is that to cool oils more quickly, and actually that applies to the lye as well, put it in a different container. That, the container itself holds some heat. And as long as it's holding heat, it's harder for the oils inside to actually cool as well. So if you choose a different container, well, then your oils are going to help cool or disperse that heat more quickly. All right, and something else that changed? My lye went through the weird process that it seems to go through with orange juice, in that it turned bright red. I kid you not. It turned exceptionally red. Now it's calmed back down. It's gone back to its orange color, but it did get a really funky red color there for a little while. Third thing that changed, glovies and long sleeves actually too. So, okay. So next step in my process is going to be straining. I'm not as much after getting rid of the pulp that is contained within the orange juice. I'm more worried about any undissolved lye. So we're going to go ahead and strain the lye into the oil. Now, my plan for this loaf, just because it's simple ingredients, also means it's going to be a very simple loaf. It's not going to have any decoration or anything like that, other than this is 1,300 grams, and my little Amazon loaf here seems to do really well, thinking it's full at around 1,100. The extra 200 grams gives me something to play with for the top in terms of, doing a mounding with a spoon technique or something like that. So that's the only decoration this one's going to get. When I said this is a so simple loaf, this is a so simple loaf. All right, so there we go. That's what I have left over in my strainer. We're going to set this aside now. So I am going to go ahead and really work this one to a medium trace. Reasoning being, it will allow me to pour it into the mold a little more quickly. And when I get it into the mold, as I said, when I get it to the top, I'll be able to actually sculpt the top a little bit quickly. Put it in, burp it, and let's get stirring. Trying not to introduce any air bubbles. I'm usually pretty good at doing that though. Oh, we just passed false trace. I thought for sure it was getting into regular trace, but sometimes when you continue working on it, it loosens back up again. That is what I just felt in the stick blender. Okay, probably one more and we're good. Yeah, not quite there yet. You see how it's not leaving any design on the top there? But we haven't gotten to trace yet. Ooh. I can feel a difference. You might be hearing a difference in the machine, in the stick blender. I can definitely feel it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Did you see that? Woo! Definitely hitting trace. Okay, so I'm going to scrape down my bell here. Just makes cleanup a little bit easier. There we go, that is secured. I have already sprayed my mold with a little bit of alcohol, just to make sure it's completely clean. Okay, dumping in. Okay, that's pretty full, but this is what I meant by I have some left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth that out with a little womping. Excuse me a minute. Womp-a-doodled away. Let's get you centered like that. Okay, I'm going to stick blend what's left one more time. And now I am at a super thick trace. I am going to rotate you out a little bit. And you can see at this, see how it holds its shape? I should be able to put this on here without it overflowing. Now, if you're thinking about making some extra in your batter like I've done here, and you think you've made too much, grab a mold and make yourself a tester soap bar. Have it for your own use, share it with a friend, whatever you like to do. But you notice this is mounding up nice. I would have done the same thing, the same procedure, if I wanted to make some frosting. This would have given me enough batter for frosting this particular soap, but that's not what I was after. Whoo, we getting tall. And as Katie would say, I'm scrapey my big container. Trying to get every bit onto this loaf that I can get. Alrighty, pretty happy with that. Hope you are too. I'm going to grab a spoon and give it a little bit more structure. This is 1,300 grams in an 1,100 gram loaf mold. If you're curious, it is holding its shape. This will result in a little over 5-ounce bar by doing this. Now, I'm going to tap the top so that the tops aren't flat. They have some angular edges about them as well. And now I'm not really happy with that, so I'm going to try to give it a little bit more definition here. Okay. Going to do a first pass here, just clean up with a spoon. Give it to the end loaf because it always seems to get gypped a little bit because of the nature of gravity. And we'll do the same to the other side. Because there's a massive amount of sugar in this one, popping it is not necessarily recommended. Yeah, you can do it, but sugars can get really hot, and that leads to things like cracks and scalding and all that kind of stuff. So, where's this loaf going to? It's going to the refrigerator. It'll stay there for a couple hours, and then it'll come out and it will air dry tonight for a cut tomorrow. All right, there it is, an orange juice loaf. Is that not so pretty? And yep, it smells like orange juice. It really does. It's not super strong. It's not like I added orange essential oils to it. And you remember I said I was thinking about adding cloves? I didn't because I forgot. Come on, guys. I make a lot of mistakes. Forgetting an ingredient that's an optional ingredient, I'm not going to call that a mistake. Tomorrow, you and I are going to unloaf this one, cut it, and see just how cool it is. But for now, well, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Ta-da! So simple, orange juice loaf. Made this last night. Of course, in video time, we made this about, roughly a minute and a half ago. It was refrigerated for 2 hours. Then I pulled it out, left it here on the table for overnight. And it is about 12:15 in the afternoon right now. So believe it or not, it's already ready to go. One thing I did is first thing this morning, about 7 a.m., I pulled the sides away on all 4 sides and I just left it. Air can now get down into the sides here, and that helps it to dry out more so that it unmolds a little bit easier, and I don't have to be quite as concerned about messing up the edges. Now, I want to point out a couple of things that did happen. I maybe should have refrigerated this one a little bit longer. And the reason why I refrigerated it, as I said, is because the orange juice has a high sugar content, and I wanted to make sure that it didn't scald. However, it did definitely get hot. Can you see where it had a problem here and cracked? Well, that's pretty minor. The easiest way to fix these cracks is just to come in with the pad of your finger and just rub it. And you can mold the soap in. Now there I'm actually destroying it. But you can actually mold the soap into where you want it to be and hide those cracks if you feel that you need to. Some people, well, they don't need to. Let's unmold this and cut it.
it is. Ta-da! So in looking at the entire bar, the edges are holding their shape well, so I do feel that that gives me permission to cut it. If I was denting these edges, I would feel like I wouldn't want to be cutting it quite yet. I would just let it set for a little bit longer, a couple hours, and we'd go from there. I got a new tool. I got a beveler. I just want to see if this works any better than a peeler. So pretty simple. This one has the tray, and you can see I've been practicing with it. But the idea here is that you set it in the 45-degree angle in either of these grooves, doesn't matter which, and just run the loaf over. Remember, as I said in an earlier video, I like to bevel these when they're still in a large loaf because it means less work later. Okay, I was talking, not paying attention. Didn't quite do what I wanted it to do, but let's take a look at the bottom here. Beveled consistently. Then you can do the edges. Flip it over here, do the other side. Ooh, that one tried to walk away from me, didn't it? Now this is my first time doing it, so of course I'm going to be awkward. In comes the cutter. Like so. I'm going to do this one on a slant or on its side. And I just want to take the heel off. There's a first cut. I didn't get the whole bevel there. There we go. Now, if you expect to find anything inside this one, you haven't been paying attention. There is nada inside this one, remember. So, really, honestly, the cuts are all going to look the same. So there's really nothing to hold up and show you with pride. My cut on these is the same 1 1/4 inch that I have been using. Last one. Very, very pretty bar. Kind of smells like orange juice. I mean, it's not, break open a bottle of orange juice and, it smells exactly like that. But it is really a nice, simple bar. In fact, so simple. It's the second bar I have in my So Simple line. And line is in air quotes there. This is the other one. This one is coconut and honey, coconut milk and honey. Also a high sugar content. You can see they've got a similar profile. They've been set up the same. This one is about 2 weeks older in the process. I don't know if this one is going to change color much, but of course you can see the orange color from the orange juice. I really thank you for your support. If you like what we're doing, please consider clicking subscribe, like, share, please comment. Let me know what you think of this. And I really, really appreciate everything. Your subscriptions have not gone unnoticed. I'm grateful to every single one of you. Please have a great, great day.